Rise and shine, rise and shine. How we doing? How we doing this morning? I just wanted to come on real quick this morning. Yeah, excuse my nails. I gotta, yeah, we gotta do that. We gotta do that. But I wanted to come on this morning. Yesterday I kept getting rerouted. Yesterday, and I know that that's a message. And it's not only a message for me. Sometimes we get rerouted in what we doing because we need to step back. We need to take a step back, and we need to realize, that sometimes we missing steps. Sometimes we forgot to do some things. Sometimes we moving a little too fast, or sometimes that route just isn't the correct route for us. Sometimes we got to take a breather. Things aren't always going to be as we want them to be at that moment. Sometimes God turns us around so we can see what it is we need to correct or we need to fix. We gotta realize that sometimes we be moving just a little too fast. Sometimes we moving just a little too fast, and sometimes we just gotta slow down. Sometimes we gotta think. Sometimes we just doing things rationally, or trying to hurry up and make a quick fix, but that quick fix not gonna get it. So yesterday, I was just being rerouted so much, and then it was crazy because I stopped by a friend of mine's house, and I'm telling him, I just kept getting rerouted today. And she said, me too. So I know that was a message, that, sometimes we gotta take a step back, man, and we gotta realize what is it that we're not doing. Sometimes we gotta see what it is that we are not doing, because sometimes we're not doing something correctly. Sometimes we need to reevaluate what it is that we doing in all. Is this really for us? Is this really what we want to be doing? Is this really what we need to be doing? Or did we do this right? Are we happy doing this? Does this satisfy us? Sometimes, it's a lot to go in and evaluate, but sometimes we need to do so. And sometimes it's just we getting overwhelmed. And we gotta come on, just take that step back. Just take a step back, breathe. Let's try this again. Sometimes we got to go a little deeper. Sometimes we didn't go as deep as we could have went. So it's a lot to it at times, but it be worth it. In the end, it's all worth it because it's helping us. It's helping us. It's helping us to figure out what it is that we doing wrong, or that we didn't do that we should have did. Or what steps we need to leave out, what steps we need to take, going further. It's just it's worth it. Sometimes they're rerouting, it's worth it, and it's for our own good. It's for our own good. When you just consistently being rerouted, man, it's for your own good. You need to go within. You got to go within and figure out what it is. What it is that's not working out, that's not going in your favor. Why is it not working? We forget about the why. Why is it not working, and what can we do to make it work? What can we do to make it work? So I just wanted to come on this morning and give y'all that message, because I said I'm not the only one who was getting that message, so somebody needs to hear that. Sometimes we being rerouted, and it's for our own good. It's for our own good. So just pay attention to that. And that's also another aspect of being rerouted. Sometimes we're not paying attention. No, it's things we got to pay attention to that we're not paying attention to. We got to pay attention to some things. We moving too fast. We steady on go, trying to make it work, but it's things that we're missing. So yeah, don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. I know it's frustrating. It's overwhelming. It's all of that. It's all of that. But it be for our own good. So I hope this message blesses somebody. I hope somebody can use this. Don't get frustrated. Don't let it frustrate you. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't stop. Don't stop. Just take a step back. See what it is that you need to redo, or what is it that you didn't do. And just start over. Sometimes we just got to start the whole route over. Sometimes we got to start the entire route over. Hope everybody be blessed. Kenya Lewis, I am who I am now.